咱这立起来，哎，把了立起来了，要不好没好？把手机上去，对吧？谁拿手机了？对吧？他把了，回来了，他把上来。好，走。
Yeah, talk about a sticky situation. And, they probably discovered that the sickness somehow travels through your pants, and this is all being done for your health and safety. Stop questioning it. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely crazy news to get into, not just, of course, in Ukraine with Russia, NATO, the United States, and some of the biggest establishment figures like you two flocking to Ukraine, but also, of course, there's a lot of very interesting developments here inside of the United States. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more with all the latest developments as they are breaking, with the most important information provided to you from pretty much the opposite perspective of the corporate media establishment. And before jumping right into it, me and Atlas would like to wish you a happy Mother's Day. As today, I hope you find a mom and you show her some love. Can I say her now, or will I be canceled? Who knows, because we're living so ever closely to a total totalitarian Chinese social credit score society, where of course health policies for the greater benefit of society, like the one we saw in the beginning of this broadcast, are being implemented with the full cheer and support of the Western corporate media, with individuals like Bill Gates calling for more of them here domestically and all over the world. Policies that are draconian, insane, nasty, and let's be honest here, have significantly spread throughout the entire world, even including places like New Zealand, where today we're getting reports that the government is sending out letters threatening to steal $15,000 from citizens there if they don't take a procedure that they want them to take. A procedure which here in the United States is being partly limited as it's being correlated with blood clots. Gee, if only there was some kind of group of independent thinkers and media personalities calling this out for the last 2 years. If only there was some people warning about this. Oh, yeah. They were censored by big tech, and their voices were, of course, silenced. This, right after the announcement by the FDA restricting the Johnson & Johnson product, which they correlated with hurting especially young boys. The former president of the United States, with absolutely no remorse, no pittance, no cares or F's in the world, brought up the owners of Johnson & Johnson on stage with him during a recent rally, brazenly then announcing this.
A great gentleman. You ever hear of Johnson & Johnson? He owns the place, I tell you what. This guy's got cash like nobody's got cash. Johnson & Johnson, his incredible wife, Suzanne Johnson.
Yeah, definitely incredible friends. As of course, it's important to note that within the last 2 years, we have foregone the scientific method, foregone rational critical thinking, and just started to worship big pharma, multinational, unaccountable corporate interests as our new kind of deities and gods. This, as the current agenda, narrative, and script is being rewritten now, where my body, my choice is somehow back on the table, as now the corporate media tells everyone that it's okay to say this and believe this, as we are reaching a new divide and conquer level of agenda, with specifically the Supreme Court ruling on Roe versus Wade, which of course is turning out ugly, as recently leftist organizations have decided to dox the home addresses of Supreme Court justices. This has led to now protests at some of the Supreme Court justices' homes, which actually breaks a federal law, which is similar to the January 6th prosecutions that have been happening in Washington, D.C. This, as high fences are being erected outside of the Supreme Court, and with Mitch McConnell now even proposing a federal ban on this procedure, I think it's fair to say that the left is going to be doubling down, the right will be doubling down as well, and I think it's fair to say that there's going to be some political and social turbulence surrounding this particular news. This, as even recently on our YouTube community page, we asked you what will happen because of this major decision that soon will be rendered, and overwhelmingly 57% of the participants said that there will be riots in Democratic cities, while 6% said that there will be riots everywhere else. What will happen? Well, whatever does happen, expect them to be characterized as peaceful protests. No matter what happens, this, as we have the news that the Biden administration has a new press secretary, which they're saying is the first black and, quote, first openly gay person to hold this key White House post. Why does that matter? It does to the Biden administration. This, as a lot of people are pointing to, a clear conflict of interest, since of course this new White House press secretary is also in a very long, serious relationship with a major figure at CNN. Oh, government officials colluding with the corporate media? Who would have thought? But I think it's very fair to say that this White House press secretary definitely has a, quote, uphill battle, as of course the administration has been very fervent with their implementation of the Build Back Better Great Reset to the tune of major supply shortages, the latest of one being baby formula, which a lot of people are saying that there is a crisis with, as many parents are finding it more and more difficult to find food for their babies. How will the new White House secretary spin this? Well, most likely like they previously had, with outright lies and delusional grandeur of thinking, most likely proposing that fasting for babies might be good for them, and that babies could probably lose a few pounds. And you know who doesn't have to lose a few pounds? You, especially if you have a shirt from thebestpoliticalshirts.com and you're looking more damper, more intellectually inclined, and more good-looking after you get a shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, our official merchandise store, which has a plethora of amazing, thought-provoking designs that are sure meant to stir up conversations. This is a great way to find out who, of course, is a low IQ Kyle and Karen, and who is going to be your best friend, or your possible mate, or just a good old buddy and friend, as this is one of the best ways to do activism that cannot be censored. This is one of the best ways to help spread very important messages, while of course keeping yourself clothed and toasty and warm. I personally like the long sleeves, but we have shirts that are now all available for women. We have them in tank tops, we have them in short sleeves, we have them in sweaters, you name it. We got it. Well, some items have sold out. Some items have been censored. There are some items that I can't show you here on this platform that you could only get and see the spiciness of by going to thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description below, since of course this also supports this independent media broadcast. And because you do, Atlas thanks you very much for the extra dog treats that you're able to allow her to have. Right, Atlas? Yes. Her ears going up means yes. Thank you. Now, some people have called this administration criminally incompetent, especially with their foreign policy and geopolitical moves that have been absolutely bewildering, especially not just in Afghanistan, but also the very clear and dangerous escalations that have been happening worldwide, which have bewildered a lot of foreign policy experts, since, of course, the moves that the United States is making is not in the best interest of the American people, and clearly is fomenting a lot of chaos. This, as now a lot of politicians have been using Ukraine as their next stage for political photo ops. This, of course, as just within the last 24 hours, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, U2, yes, Bono, and The Edge, along with Jill Biden, all made visits to Ukraine, specifically issuing their support. U2 did a small subway station performance after being personally invited by President Zelensky, who says that he really likes U2. I don't know why someone would publicly admit that, but he did. I'm still pissed that they put their frickin' songs and their album on my phone. I'm not going to listen to it no matter how many times my car tries to start it. And that right there is the true is the true travesty of injustice, and obviously all of this is happening in war-torn Ukraine that is being used as a proxy state to represent the larger conflict happening between the East and the West, happening between the United States and Russia. A brutal conflict that has been prolonged, that has been going on for a lot longer than a lot of other people have expected. We told you that this is going to be going on for a while. It has, and it has the potential to go on a lot longer. Years, as we've been specifically warning about, specifically using the examples of what happens in Israel, in Palestine, what's been happening inside of Syria, what's been happening outside of Libya. Whenever you have a destabilization of the region, that destabilization seems to reverberate for a very long time. And I think it's very fair to say that the situation is very unstable, as the Russians are losing not only significant hardware in this theater, but they have just lost their 39th colonel. This, as it looks like Ukraine is even making some advances on the Russians that have abandoned their assault on Kiev and are now trying to hold on to the Donbass region. This, as we're getting videos specifically of international technology coming from Turkey, from Germany, from the United States, being used against the Russians successfully, as there is an overwhelming amount of evidence suggesting that this is an absolute brutal conflict with major losses on both sides, with some military experts saying that Ukraine is getting the advantage here, leaving Russia ever so desperate. This, as of course we've been documenting the very aggressive and desperate statements that have been being made by the Russians. This, as just recently the head of Russia's space agency claimed that Russia could destroy all of NATO's countries in a half an hour. Specific comments by Dmitry Rogozin, and with a very important date coming up in just a few hours for the Russians, what will be their response to the latest revelations of the United States openly admitting that it is the one coordinating the attacks on their colonels and generals and assassinating them. And whatever their response may be, the situation is desperate and absolutely freaking crazy. To me, this is beyond ridiculous. There's two nuclear-armed countries that are continuing to escalate their proxy conflicts, whether it was Libya, whether it was Syria, whether now it's Ukraine. Now there's a big financial conflict. Things are crazy, and I think it's very fair to say there's going to be a big development coming from Russia, specifically within the next few hours, that of course we're going to be following closely and reporting on. So make sure you're subscribed and have the notification button tuned to this channel, because as soon as the news breaks, we will be making a video about it, as a lot of people are expecting a major announcement from Russia. Whatever happens, we hope it's a de-escalation, but that's probably not going to happen. Conflict's probably going to draw out for a lot longer than a lot of people expected, which is an absolute shame, specifically being from that region, having family there. This whole thing is just absolutely stupid. And hey, that's my perspective. That's my opinion. If you thought I was wrong, let me know why down in the comment section below. I always appreciate the constructive criticism. I always appreciate being able to hear different perspectives than I usually would from, of course, just the little echo chamber that all the big tech social media algorithms regurgitate back to you. Oh yeah, I even forgot to say, the shirt I'm wearing right now, If I Told You So Was a Person, is the shirt that you can get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Because you get the shirts, I'm able to be here. And this is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more, and I did a video surrounding very similar topics, which you could watch right now by clicking here and get an expanded perspective on what we just talked about. Love you guys.